This episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy was recorded and produced during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the stories being covered here wouldn't exist. Thank you, and enjoy this episode of In a Galaxy. Hello there! Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the Star Wars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
And today we got another special episode for you after our completion of Season 14 of The Bad Batch, after completion Season 14 of the show, Bad Batch Season 2. After completion of any season, we do a special episode, and we're back with Star Wars opinions. We said we were going to do this earlier this year, and then we didn't. And now we're doing it. When was Opinions 3? I'm trying to remember, actually, right now.
Wasn't after Bad Batch Season 1?
It might have been. Let's see.
I think it was after Bad Batch Season 1.
It was after Bad Batch Season 1. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're definitely right about that one.
Back again.
Yeah, it was earlier this year in February. This will probably be coming out in August, even though we're recording it in very late July. But yeah, and by the way, this is I think the first one recorded after this was happening, but I put this on our most recent episode, and this will go on all of our episodes until this happens. It's just a little acknowledgement at the very beginning. I'm sure you've heard it by now, but just to reiterate again, we are doing a lot of content. I know some people hate the C word, I do too. During the 2023 SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes, we just want to make it known, without the writers or the actors involved who are currently striking, none of this stuff would exist, and we want to honor and acknowledge their contributions while continuing to talk about the work, because we're not in any way affiliated with any of the studios. We're not making any money off of this, so like going with the SAG-AFTRA and WGA guidelines, what we're doing should be fine, but we just wanted to pay a little extra homage to them, just to show our support, even though we're talking about some past and present struck work.
Yeah. Pay your writers, pay your actors.
Absolutely.
Give them their benefits. They deserve it.
Absolutely. 100%.
I see a lot of people acting like all writers and actors are multi-millionaires, and really that couldn't be further from the truth. It really couldn't.
You've seen the graphic go around. SAG-AFTRA requires $26,000 a year to be made to qualify for health insurance. 87% of SAG-AFTRA members do not qualify. So 87% of SAG-AFTRA members make less than $26,000 a year, which is abhorrent and says really more about that business and how poorly the actors are getting paid than anything else. So yeah. So, but with that being said, we have Star Wars Opinions 4. We have 5 Star Wars opinion questions that we're going to ask each other. Should make a fun episode, just a laid back, fun little episode right here. Yeah. Jacob, why don't you go first with your first opinionated question?
All right, jumping right in. What's a Star Wars video game, Eli, that you think needs to be made?
I feel like we've done similar questions to this before, but it's always a good question to revisit. I'm going to go outside of my traditional answer, which is just a KOTOR for the main saga, because I think that would be super fun.
Like a turn-based kind of
style game,
lore-heavy game.
Style game for the main saga.
That would be very cool.
I think it would be really, really cool. I'll go with... here's what I'm going to go with. I think that after Respawn finishes the 3rd Jedi game, I think what they should start working on is another game like the Jedi games, except for it should center around a different character. Because already in the Jedi games, especially the first one, especially Fallen Order, which we'll get to in the next season of Star Wars in a Galaxy, is a lot about splunking. It's a lot about exploring old tombs and old wreckages, and Survivor is a little bit, but not as much. My point with that was going to be, and is going to be, that they've proven themselves to be worthy of tackling those sort of like Tomb Raider-esque games. If only we had a character in Star Wars that was famous for exploring old ruins and excavating old sites. Respawn, please, I beg you, make a game about everybody's favorite hapless doctor, Chelly Lona Afra. I want a Dr. Afra game. Respawn, get on it.
A Dr. Afra game would be sick. Or a Fee Genoa type of thing as well.
Game's fantastic.
Put Fee Genoa in there. She's also she loves her artifacts as well.
Fee can make an appearance in the Afra game. There's no reason why those two can't cross. Yeah. Except for if something happens to Fee in season 3, which I think is very unlikely, actually.
Yeah, well, we will see.
They wouldn't just see on the sites. But yeah, that's my answer is a Dr. Afra game. I think that'd be very fun. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that game. You could even frankly, even adapting a run of the comic, an arc of the comic into a video game, I think would be, or several arcs from the video game, the comics and the video games would be super fun. Discovering the Spark Eternal from this most recent run, or the stuff with the Ordo Aspectu, or or the Rings of Vale from earlier in the after run, this after run, I think would be really interesting, and I think would be just so much fun to play. I feel like Afra is one of those characters where, all of her stuff has, of course, so far been in books and comics, mostly comics.
Yeah.
And how we haven't seen her on the big screen, on either the big screen or the small screen, or even even in a video game, is kind of outrageous to me. And we have to acknowledge the fact that it's because she is of Asian descent and a lesbian. Like I really do think that's the reason we haven't seen her on screen, is because
she's so popular in the books and comics but hasn't made the jump yet, you mean?
Yeah. No, and because she's clearly supposed to be an Asian coded character and a lesbian.
I see. Yeah.
I think that the big wigs at Disney probably would shoot down anything with that because they think it's too risky, which is stupid, but that's another topic.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one day soon.
Hopefully one day soon. I'm really hoping for an Afro show or a game or something like that.
That would be awesome. That'll be very awesome. I agree.
What's your pitch? Actually, I think I know your pitch, but what's your pitch?
Do you know the bit version or the serious version? Okay, so picture. I beg your pardon?
I wasn't aware there was a difference.
There was a difference. So picture this. It's the waning days of the Clone Wars. Maybe after the rise of the Empire, maybe before the Revenge of the Sith. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't really matter. Picture this. An abandoned B-1 battle droid. A clone trooper who deserted his legion. An unlikely romance. Just like Lando in L337. That's the bit version. And there's 30-minute long unskippable cutscenes filled with erotic tension where the clone is working to fix the malfunctions and broken antenna and photoreceptors and whatnot on the droid. In all seriousness, I think that Eli and I have been playing a lot of Jedi Survivor lately, and I really love the immersion that game brings. Just the level of detail, of beauty, of richness in that environment. And I would love to see that playstyle be brought to the Clone Wars era, which is one of my favorite eras of Star Wars, and combine that with one of my favorite things in Star Wars, B-1 battle droids and clone troopers. I think it would be super cool. That is all.
So
in all seriousness, it wouldn't be like a steamy slash fiction.
It wouldn't be steamy.
Style.
It would be the same story, basically.
It would be the same story, and then minus all the steamy slash fiction-esque crazy stuff that I joke about.
All right. Okay. So, but you're still like the unlikely friendship between a clone trooper and a B-1 battle droid.
Yeah, I just think that would be nice. Hashtag Battle Droid Society.
Hashtag Battle Droid Society. I think that's a very interesting idea. All right. So as we all know, our third edition of the From a Certain Point of View series is coming out. Our third book in the From a Certain Point of View series is coming out. I believe it got pushed. I believe it's October. No, it's August. It'll be out by the end of this month by the time we put this out. From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi, covering 40 characters from the Star Wars universe. We have a bunch of them here, and we don't, and we have a bunch of them already done, and like already revealed that we know, but there are quite a few that we don't. I guess so. So my question is going to be: if you could write a story for From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi, who would you write it? Who would you write it about?
Oh wow. That is a great question. There's a lot of options. I think maybe I'm not sure. Do we know how Leia stole all of Bausch's stuff, his whole outfit and everything?
Forces of Destiny.
Okay, I have not seen Forces of Destiny. I assume it's canon.
It's
I
canon.
think it would be really funny to see a story of Bausch, if he gets bonked on the head or sedated or whatever, him just coming to and just like losing his shit. Like,
The
who
story
took
of
all my
Bausch
stuff? Oh my
after
god.
Leia stole his shit.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's kind of taking
Yeah.
that's kind of no. I would love to see a story about Sice Noodles.
Kristen Baber's writing that one.
Good,
I
because
should I should
she
I should
let me just clarify something. Sice Noodles is also in the Clone Wars. She's kind of Zero's flame in the Clone Wars, right? That's also
yeah.
Sice Noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has a long history of working the Hutts. And Hutts are very smart. They're known for thinking very far ahead. It's hard to play a Hutt like a violin, and that's exactly what Sice Noodles did with Zero. So I would love to see what was she cooking up with Jabba.
Yeah, I'm gonna pivot you again because I was going to read the ones we already know, and I was going to say like other than those.
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it.
So we know we have Saladin Ahmed is writing a Malakili story. Charlie Jane Anders is writing a story about the Sarlacc. Sylvie Blake is writing a story about Palpatine. Kristen Baver about Sice Noodles. Mike Chen about Anakin Skywalker. Adam Christopher about Enric Pride. Alex Jennings about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Mary Kenny about Wicket, and Fran Wild about Mon Mothma. So other than those, who would you pick?
Gosh, I don't know. There's so many options. Maybe Nine Numb. Yeah, Nine
A
Numb's still a
Nine
good fun.
Numb
Maybe he's
story. That's a really
is he
interesting
too
idea.
much of a main character?
I don't
Because
think
I
so.
don't.
I don't think so. If they're doing Palpatine and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't think Nine Nub is too
Yeah.
much main character.
So
I
yeah, then I
That's
think
totally valid.
Nine Numb, Nine Numb.
Yeah. By the
I'm a
way,
big I'm a big fan of
challenge
Celestians.
if because I bet Nine Nub is going to be in this book. Again, we don't know who, so we're counting it now. But whoever writes that story, try to call it something else than comfortably numb. Try to. I dare you.
They're not going to call it that.
They should though.
They should. That would be funny.
It's right there. It is
That would be
literally right there. My pick
probably no.
my pick is going to be a wild card pick, a strange pick, an out of left field pick. This is a question that stumped our good friend Buck O'Brien on Epic Confrontations.
Oh,
But I do love this character, and not just because I got to stump Buck with it. Sorry about that, Buck. Legitimately, I do like this character. He's a guy named he's the little frog guy, Rapper Tooney, at Jabba's palace.
oh,
He's in the Max Rebo band. He plays this like harmonica called the Grody Harmonique, and I want to believe that like Max, he like his band leader, he survives the destruction of the Sarlacc. Not the Sarlacc of the sail barge. Once upon a time, I will say this. Once upon a time, my idea was to write an Ochi story for this, but that wouldn't actually like the story I actually had in my mind about Ochi, which I actually did write a little bit of, was shamelessly retconned by Shadow of the Sith, and Adam Christopher wrote the story of how Ochi came in league with the Sith after Return of the Jedi, like 10 times better than I could ever hope to. So I'm totally fine giving that up. But yeah, Rapper Tooney, I'll pull it up, Jacob. This guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's been long about that. I just had another idea.
Okay.
I can't remember their name. The droid whose job it is, EV949, the droid whose job it is
I-99.
EV99,
Yeah.
the droid whose job it is to torture other droids.
Yeah,
Like, what
EV99.
is going through that droid's head? Are they being forced to do that? Do they take like some
Well,
twisted, sick pleasure in it? I would love to see that.
I think it's all programming. I think that's the idea is it's all programming.
Yeah.
But EV9 and the EV99 story is interesting too. Yeah, especially now that EV99 in The Mandalorian, because we see that EV99 survived the sail barge explosion in The Mandalorian and is now a bartender at Chalmun's Cantina, where it is being voiced now by Mark Hamill.
Oh wow.
So, like I like if a person writes the story of EV99, which I hope they will for from a certain point of view, Return of the Jedi, I dare them not to put Mark Hamill in reference in there because I feel like it's just too perfect. Like even this, like something about Luke, maybe something. If they want to be really cheeky, they could add a like have EV99 say a line that the animated Joker says. I think that'd be really cheeky.
That would be amazing. That would be incredible.
So that would be that'd be so much fun. All right, question number 2 for you.
Eli, what is the most underrated Star Wars fan ship? That kind of ship, not spaceship.
Yeah, no, it's funny because you had a question about that kind of ship, and I had a question. I have actually a question later about spaceships.
Oh, perfect. It's like
Uh,
we're switching what we usually talk about.
yeah, we were switching places today. Well, Finn Poe is not underrated, and it's one of the only ones I actually believe in.
Sparks were flying in the Force Awakens, man. Sparks were definitely flying a few
I'd
few
say
few
in
of those
all three.
scenes.
I'd say in all three myself. I like I liked Cal Trilla from Fallen Order, but
Mm.
that didn't happen because Trilla, spoilers, kind of died. And now Cal Marin is a thing. So that's and I'm fine with Cal Marin, and that's whatever for me. I'll say that I get like I'm very intrigued. I wouldn't call myself a shipper of the ship, but I think I'm intrigued by the idea of the ship, which is armor or bow.
Oh, what
Because
intrigues you about that?
just like well, first of all, I guess it's like just like the idea of like it's really like people were pointing out that there was like if you read it a certain way, there was a weird sexual undertone to Bo-Katan Kryze, remove your helmet.
That seems like a little bit of a reach, but
It
okay. Within
does.
the realm of shipping and Star Wars and
Yes,
various lenses, I understand.
yeah.
I understand where that's coming
There
from.
have been bigger reaches.
If you're shipping characters, you're usually in the business of reaching a little bit, and that's
Yeah,
okay. That's half the fun.
that's fine, and ship who you want to. We don't we're not presidents against ships here. I may not like a specifically popular Star Wars ship, and I don't think Jacob does either. But all kudos to those people who want to ship those two characters' motions this way on my screen. But yeah, my underrated I would say bow and armor, but I'm open to other stuff too. What would yours be? I'm almost afraid to
Zeb
ask, but what would yours
and
be?
Callus.
Who?
Zeb and Callus.
I don't think that's underrated at all. I think that's one of
You
the
don't think so?
no. I
You
think
you hear people talking about that?
yeah, I do.
Maybe I'm not plugged into ship Twitter and ship
Yeah,
Twitter,
no,
Star Wars, Twitter, internet stuff, but
I think after Raylo and Finpo, I think they're the one I hear people talk about the most, honestly.
wow.
Maybe Dinbo as well, but I don't think Dinbo would work myself, but that's just me.
This is me finding out I'm not as special and unique as I thought I was. Wow.
Uh
I mean, it's a great ship.
no,
It's
it
a
is a
great
great ship,
ship.
and I'll give it to you.
And that final scene in family reunion and farewell, that was that's such a nice like ship or no ship. That was such a good moment to see, Zeb and Callus going to Lyra San together.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
was a really a that
I
was
agree
really
with
a
that.
tear jerker. Yeah, I
Also,
don't really have any other ships in mind, so I'm just gonna stick with that.
I'll also add in another mention of this one, which is we don't know that this is actually happened, but like based on some context clues, we know we know about this. Lando, we know he had a daughter. We don't know who his spouse was, but he was getting close in the book Last Shot with a Twi'lek woman. I forget what Kasha Batin, and we don't know that she's Gadara's mother, the mother of Lando's daughter, but it makes sense that she would be. And Shadow of the Sith very delicately danced around who Lando's partner and who Kadara's mother was. I think because I think because Christopher was probably told or just wanted to leave that to another project. But I want to see Lando. I want to see who Lando settles down with.
I actually have another answer. It's not exactly a ship, but
Yeah.
the conspiracy theory that he is Satine and Obi-Wan's son is hilarious to me, and I love it. And I fully believe it. Maybe not fully, but I want to believe.
All right.
I will say that.
All right. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
Eli
that's
has
it.
no. Eli, you have no comment.
I just don't think it's true. I just don't
Maybe
think
not.
it's true.
It's funny though.
It's a
It's a
fun
meme.
theory. I just don't think it's true.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. My second question, right?
Yes, sir.
What location would you like to see in Star Wars, and how would you want it further explored?
Oh gosh, that is a very broad. Wow, you can go in a lot of directions with that one. Wow. Let me think for a minute.
I guess I'm talking. I said location.
Gosh.
I meant planet
Well, yeah, no, I understand it. Oh man.
too.
Oh my God. I just kind of have a crazy idea. So you know how there's two different kind of versions of Kessel, because in Legends, Kessel is an asteroid
Yeah.
that has a thin atmosphere created by artificial air factories. And then in canon, in Star Wars Rebels, we saw that Kessel is one side of the planet is a rich, lush jungle with dotted with royal palaces, and then the other side is a smoggy wasteland of giant spice mine pits and processing plants, which was kind of how George Lucas originally described it in his notes. It'd be cool to see something centered on Kessel, maybe describing potentially a story in which for some reason maybe they just start excavating giant chunks of Kessel, or Kessel gets, maybe there's some kind of super weapon, or something happens and we see the canon Kessel turn into the Legends Kessel.
Or maybe just the
You
Legends
know?
Castle is an asteroid that like is a piece of debris that revolves around
Yeah,
the.
or something like that, because I really am a fan of when they I am a fan of when canon authors, writers, directors, whoever, showrunners, I am a big fan of when they kind of use use Legends ideas, old EU stuff, characters, places, ideas. Anytime that they kind of take inspiration and pay homage to the old EU, it makes me really happy. And I think that this would be a cool way to kind of merge the two a little bit. If it's a super weapon that tears off big chunks of Kessel, kind of turning it from a planet into an asteroid, and the core kind of refreezes, or like you said, there's actually a moon of Kessel that's like an asteroid moon, like Mars has asteroid moons or something. I think there's potential there. So that just popped in my head, but I'm gonna say Kessel. What
So
about you?
mine, I was thinking of mine. That's a good answer with Kessel. I was thinking of mine while you were explaining Kessel, and I just think that Tatooine. I'm just joking. That was a joke. I'm not. We're gonna see a new side of Tatooine in Outlaws. I hope I hope Book of Boba comes back. We'll see a new side of Tatooine in that, but who knows? We'll see a lot more Tatooine. Here's my dark horse pick. Zanbar.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
So I don't think you're getting. I don't think you know where Zanbar is, do you?
I don't know where
I'll explain it
Zanbar
to you. You don't
is.
have to look it up. You don't have to look it up. I'll explain it to you.
Okay, explain me Zanbar.
Zanbar is the planet that Darth Maul based the Shadow Collective forces off of when they were getting ready to take over Mandalore. And then where he retreated them back to after he lost Mandalore, after he got his ass kicked by Darth Sidious.
And where do we see Zanbar appear?
TCW a few episodes, and then the Son of Dathomir comic a few issues.
Oh, the Son of Dathomir.
But it's mostly
right.
TCW. It's in 2 episodes of TCW. It's in Eminence and Shades of Reason. But it's apparently it's well, actually it's not a planet, it's a moon, but it's apparently both a mountainous planet and a swamp planet, which I think is interesting. And also I like the idea, we've been exploring this idea a lot lately in canon of the Force leaving traces, people being able to sense where the Force has been or where major events revolving around the Force have been used, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when Leia steps into the Naboo Royal Palace in that one comic, and then is able to sense through the Force the Duel of the Fates as she walks through the hallways. She's able to get a Force memory of that, even though she was born way after that. I think it'd be interesting if Luke or Leia or somebody, maybe even go even further into the future, maybe put Rey there, gets learns about what the Shadow Collective is and learns about Maul's twisted plan to wrest the galaxy from Sidious and into his own control. Maybe there are still some Shadow Collective holdouts, maybe a few members of Black Sun, a few members of the Pikes, whatever it may be, a few members of Death Watch still there. I think that would be an interesting storytelling idea to go back to Zanbar.
That could be very cool. That could be very cool.
I'm just a sucker for a lot of old ruins of stuff, so I think that's where I drew that one from.
That'd be great. No, that would be great.
Dark horse pick Zanbar. But go ahead with your third question.
Okay. Search in your memory, Eli. Do you have any take, any prediction, any opinion that you had or you espoused in previous months, years, whenever about Star Wars that you think aged really poorly?
Oh, I have so many of those.
About them.
Let's see. I'll say, look, you're telling me they're going to put a character who has appeared in a few chapters of a book trilogy in The Mandalorian, who 99% of Star Wars fans have never heard of. Give me a break. They would never put Cobb Vanth in The Mandalorian. And have someone like Timothy Oliphant play him. That's ridiculous. That's one of the craziest ideas I've ever. That would literally never happen. Whoops. I've talked recently about my end of Bad Batch season 2 predictions that just ended all terribly. I can't imagine O'Shea Jackson Jr. turning down the chance to being in Star Wars again and reprising Colin Broken, his character from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, in Jedi Survivor or Andor. I thought both of those were pretty likely to happen. And neither of them did. Let's see. Yeah. Rogan and Andor Kenobi. No Cobb Vanth and Mando. Let's see. Grogu is going to get shot by the end of Mandalorian season 2 because of the armor. And now he's gotten doubly armored. I still think he's going to get shot, but I thought it was going to be a lot quicker of a payoff. Oh, Din's going to be Mandalore. Din's going to be Mandalore is another one. Yeah, there are quite a few of them. Sometimes with predictions, I get things right. Most of the time, I don't. I'd say I get things right maybe 2-3 times out of 10.
That's better than me for the most part. But for my answer to this question, here I actually have some notes
Yeah.
I have some notes that
Sorry,
I
I
had
just rattled
written
out of like a
for an
laundry list of mine.
episode. I beg your pardon?
Sorry, I said sorry. Like kind of just rattled out a laundry list of
No,
mine.
it's great. It's perfect. This is something I wrote. I can't remember exactly when I wrote it. I can't remember exactly when I wrote it. It's in my notes document for our podcast. This is from a couple years ago. I don't really like the Bad Batch. They're all incredibly generic. Hunter has no character. Wrecker is the big guy that breaks stuff. The smart dude is smart, and Crosshair is the edgy, cool guy. There is absolutely no way that they're strong enough to lead their own show. That is what I wrote.
Whoops.
And that is what I thought. And I couldn't be happier to be wrong, because I mean the Bad Batch really slapped, in my opinion. The
It,
Bad
it,
Batch really
it's really
slapped.
slapping. Here's another one for you. Here's another one for you. Oh, they're making a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. I'm sure that'll be all right, I guess. Like, I don't think it'll be anything great. Like, I hope it'll be better, but like, I don't think it'll be anything groundbreaking. Cut to Jedi Survivor is probably my favorite story of this year.
Sometimes it's good to be wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of the time, actually. A lot of the time, it's good to be wrong.
Absolutely. So we're on to my third one right now, right?
Yes, we are.
All right. So you know about the one of our biggest Star Wars releases of next year that I do know we're going to get, which is Star Wars Outlaws, the new video game coming from Ubisoft, taking place between Empire and Return of the Jedi, following our rookie scoundrel Kay Vess. Kay is a rookie scout, a smuggler, making her way through the galaxy in the year between Empire and Return of the Jedi. This is going on during the time of the Kira trilogy of Soul comics, where the crime syndicates fueled by Crimson Dawn are kind of all fighting each other, and everything's a mess. The Empire can't really deal with any of the crime syndicates because it's too busy dealing with the rebellion, who are closer to winning than they ever have been before. We know that, so it's going to be our first ever open world Star Wars game in canon. We know that Tatooine's going to be in it. We know that Jabba and the Hutts are going to be in it. We know that the Pikes are going to be in it, and they're going to have a base on a new planet called Toshara. We know that the Ashiga clan, which is a new crime syndicate, is going to be in it. They have a base set up on the planet of Kijimi. And we think we saw Cantonica and its major city of Canto Bight there, but we don't have that confirmed yet. Kay is going to be venturing out with her pet Nyx, who I think is a new species that I can't remember what the name is, but who basically is going to act like the BD1 of Outlaws. And a reprogrammed commando droid called ND5, which is wearing a trench coat because why not? Yeah, so that's a basic overview of Outlaws. I guess my question was going to be, what deep cut lore reference, like what deep cut like lore surprise would you want to see in Outlaws? Given the time period, given like the subject matter, given that like basically you're going to be taking jobs from various crimes and it gets and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm trying to think of my own.
Gosh.
What deep cut like super nerdy reference do you want to be in there? Because they've done stuff like that in Battlefront, in both Jedi games. I'm trying to think what mine would be.
You know, being a Rebels fan, I have to say it would make my day to see us running a mission for Vijago or Asmorgan. Either one of those two.
That'd be a good in reference, actually.
Either one of those slimy dudes would be really awesome.
That'd be a damn good idea.
You're a real Rebels fan if you think about Vijago and Asmorgan, because they were only in the early seasons too. They weren't even in the seasons that really got popping, you know? They were really.
Was Vijago not in season 3 or 4?
I think he pops up a little bit, but both of them are mainly in season 1.
Let's see. I'm just looking myself. Vijago. Oh no, he pops up quite a bit in season 4.
Really?
He's in more of season 4 than he is in season 1 or 2, actually.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm very sure about that. Yes.
Maybe a number of episodes. I can't imagine in screen time. he's in more of season 4.
Number of episodes. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I guess he does appear in the Liberation of Lothal, that arc. That's true,
Yeah.
actually.
Let's see. What am I gonna?
I think, yeah,
what am I
that's
gonna?
fair enough, actually.
What am I gonna pull in here? Let's see. What part of like the underworld would I pull in here? Thinking of like the time. Oh my god. Oh my god, this would be crazy. Here we go. Are you ready for this one? Kay is
Hmm.
meeting a contact of hers in the Outer Rim who she's talking to about some like data she's trying to find or something like that. And then a group of stormtroopers say ambushes them. And they're blasting away at them, but the group's getting bigger and all that kind of stuff. And suddenly her contact, who's this guy with like very big locks of black hair, pulls out a lightsaber and starts deflecting away. And we realize that she's talking to Quinlan Voss,
Oh,
who survived Order 66, as we know he did. And that would be a confirmation that Quinlan made it into the time of the original trilogy. Like now, then he could join Luke's Jedi Order, assuming he survives the game. Like Quinlan Voss. That's what I want. Quinlan Voss in Star Wars Outlaws.
that would
Mark,
be sick. That would be sick.
yeah, Quinlan Voss. All right, go with your number 4.
My number 4 questions. We have Galaxy's Edge twice. We also have Disneyland Shanghai, Tokyo Disney, Disneyland Paris, and Hong Kong Disneyland, to name a few other Disney parks. What other planet or setting from Star Wars deserves to have a little theme park love?
Other than Batu.
Other than Batu, even though they probably won't ever do that.
Yeah.
What if you could? What would you do?
I'm trying to think because I want it to be a bit more of a mainstay planet because I'd want to see like more of that stuff, I guess. I would say, let's see. Because we want somewhere with like a city, but like not too much. You know what I mean? Like there's a delicate balancing act in choosing one of these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I'm gonna go with. In many ways, Batu is a great location for it because it has everything that you're looking for in that one. You know what? I'm looking at this solo poster of mine that I have right here. Corellia.
That would be
I
interesting.
mean, we already go to Corellia in a mission in Galaxy's Edge, so that actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Corellia. What would you go?
Man, that's a hard question again. I didn't really think about this for myself very much. I think Coruscant would be really fun. You could have some kind of crazy, I don't know, if you wanted to get really crazy, you could try and do a whole like only 21 and up, whole like bar, alcohol nightclub, Outlander club type of vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe lift the rule against adults in cosplay on Disney properties. Please, Disney, please. Although I understand why they have that rule. I think that could be interesting. But in a more realistic note, maybe Corellia would be an interesting one. Maybe Naboo or Alderaan. But I think Batu is a really good is a really good choice because it covers all the bases of things that you're expecting in it. It's that Star Wars vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I thought of Coruscant. It's just like I don't know. It just seemed a bit too big of a city for me.
Yeah, they would have to do some really. They would have to do a lot of hardcore building and also really you really use all the forced perspective. Use every forced perspective trick in the book if they want to get some Coruscant going.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, Corellia isn't easy either, but I think it's a bit easier. I think anything's a bit easier than Coruscant.
Or you could always do you could always do the Coruscant underworld, just put the whole thing inside, probably
Yeah.
make it smell really bad, like random gas leaks and pipes shooting steam,
Yeah.
there's always that option, although people might not like that very much. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's
like
the
that
thing.
very
It's
much.
like making it enjoyable for people. We're proving why we shouldn't be Imagineers right now.
Of course, on Underworld, the only Disney park where everything is supposed to suck all the time.
Yeah. All right. Here's my next question for you. Are you ready for this one?
Lay it on me.
So you don't know much about this as I have because you got off of here a long time ago, but you know that in recent times Twitter was purchased for $40 billion for some reason by Elon Musk.
I think we know what the reason was. He wanted to use it as his own personal political tool.
And marketing tool and all that kind of stuff.
And yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest changes he put is that now it's now a verified blue check mark on that platform instead of just being granted to you after an application process. It will be given to everybody over 1 million followers, or you can be under 1 million followers if you pay $9.99 a month for Twitter Blue with new features. And it's a statement if you pay for that verification check. Some people have legitimate reasons, but let's be honest, I think most of the people who pay for it are supporters of Elon Musk, and we don't have a super favorable view of Elon Musk and his Twitter takeover on this show. So I'm going to ask you, which Star Wars characters do you think would pay for Twitter Blue?
Which Star Wars characters would pay for Twitter Blue? Oh my gosh. What
Yeah.
a fantastic question. Gosh, let me just I'm gonna pull up Galaxy of Heroes, just run through my roster to refresh my memory of all the characters that there are in Star Wars. Who would pay for Twitter Blue? Gosh, that is a good off the bat. I think I feel like Moff Gideon might pay for Twitter Blue. You don't think
Sure,
so?
that's a good pick, honestly.
I think Moff Gideon would pay for Twitter Blue. I think Darth Vader would definitely not pay for it. Darth Vader is not on Twitter.
I'm not
I
sure if
think
on Twitter or not on Twitter, but I'm just thinking yeah, Moff
I
Gideon.
think General Grievous.
Oh, don't put that on Grimace. He doesn't have time for Twitter.
He doesn't have time for Twitter.
He doesn't have
What
time.
about IG88? IG88 would be a heavy Twitter user, but
Sure,
he
I can
wouldn't
see
pay.
that.
I feel like he wouldn't pay for it. Neither would maybe would Lando?
No, Lando's not that.
Lando. Man, who would pay for Twitter Blue? It's the type of person. The type of person. Oh, I know who pays for Twitter Blue. Gosh, all the Tarkin probably pays for Twitter Blue.
Yeah, he probably does.
Gosh, who else?
Rampart definitely does.
Admiral Rampart pays for Twitter Blue. Who's the stuck up the one from Rebels? The Admiral from Rebels. I can't remember his name right now. What did you say?
Constantine?
Yeah, Admiral Constantine definitely pays for Twitter Blue. He
Yeah.
definitely pays for that check mark. I'm gonna say Constantine and Tarkin are most likely to pay for Sid. I don't know if Sid would pay for Twitter Blue.
Sid would pay for Twitter Blue. Come
You
on.
think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I think that's it. I think that's it. I don't know who else would pay for Twitter Blue.
DJ would pay for Twitter Blue.
DJ would pay for Twitter Blue, actually.
DJ is the one I'm most confident on of all of these. DJ would pay for Twitter Blue. That is the one I feel most confident about, actually. Not even close. All right, what is your?
I feel like Mace. No hate to Mace Windu. I love Mace Windu, but he has paying for Twitter Blue potential in my eyes.
I mean, I
he try to convince himself. It's like, no, I need to pay for Twitter Blue because I
don't want to incur the wrath of the Dark
me.
Jedi on this show anymore.
I need people to know it's actually me. And I say that as someone who loves Mace Windu.
I don't want to incur the wrath of the Dark Jedi any more than I already do on this show, but I tend to agree with you. Yeah. Mundi definitely would be a
sorry, Jared. I love Mace Windu, Jared. It's Eli who hates Mace Windu. Don't come after me.
Kiadi Mundi would use Twitter Blue.
Yeah, probably. I bet a lot of the Jedi Council would probably use Twitter Blue, honestly.
Madame Jocasta. Love her. Jocasta wouldn't use Twitter Blue. Yeah.
Here's another question in the same vein. Who would pay for, are you familiar with the concept of Reddit gold?
Yeah, I think I'm a little less familiar than you are. Can you give me a refresher on it?
So I used to be on Reddit. So basically you can buy Reddit coins and use those to give out awards to posts where it'll put a little gold or silver kind of badge next to the post. Basically just to show that you really liked it. So I'm not really, again, it's one of those things where I'm not really sure what the point is, but the company uses it to make money, and for some reason people seem really into it, as
Yeah.
far as I understand.
Yeah, so for me, like Reddit Gold is like much less sinister than
I think it's much less sinister, but it's possibly even more pointless. I mean, the idea of being verified is not exactly pointless. It's been turned pointless because of the pay to play aspect of it now.
yeah, Dex.
Mm. Yeah, you may
Dex
be
would
right.
do that.
X would do that for sure.
Who are you gonna say?
Maybe Zero the Hut.
Yeah,
Probably bored sitting at in his palace. He
I'm
probably
gonna
he
give
probably
the rest
browses the
gold to
interwebs.
Godzilla.
Oh, no, now I'm thinking of all the different Star Wars characters saying "Thanks for the gold, kind stranger." Their Star Wars character voice. I can't.
Thank you
Moving
for
on.
the gold, God stranger. Do not tell Java
Oh
Godzilla.
God.
This one.
Oh, dude, Zero is so funny. He's underrated. He was kind of the outcast of the Hut clan. So,
No, that's Frankie, but we'll get to him.
oh, I guess, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Moving on. Moving on.
On your final question.
Oh, it's my question.
Yep.
Which Jedi would you want to be trained by if you were a Padawan?
Yeah. So we're going with any era from this one.
Any era you can pick. Who would be a good teacher?
Any canonicity.
Canon Legends doesn't matter.
All right.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Well, I'm just gonna again start a laundry list. Gungeon,
That's a good pick.
Ray,
Mm,
Qui-Gon, Ray, Ahsoka Tano,
good pick.
Plo Koon,
Oh, Plo Koon. Plo Koon's a good pick. I do love Plo Koon.
Avar Fritz.
Mm, know who that is.
He's the main character of the High Republic.
Yeah.
Not the main character, but one of the
I
main.
do need to get around to reading those books because I
Um,
just I just basically told on myself.
Avar Chris. Going to Legends, flashing to Legends, I would go Kyle Katarn. I would go somebody like Johun Athone from the Bane trilogy, or his master, Lord Hoth.
Oh, Lord Hoth, of course.
I'd also go with somebody like Quinlan Boss, actually. Anybody who's loyal to the spirit of the Jedi Order, but not necessarily the code, that will do what they need to do, but ultimately carries those principles within their heart. Who would you go with?
That's a good question. I think this is something that I do think. I think a lot about the importance of having the right teacher and the right mentor. As someone who has gone through, I have learning differences. I have hidden learning disabilities. So I think that has made me very acutely aware of the importance of a good teacher. With that in mind, I think Qui-Gon or Legends Luke are picks
I would
that I think would
absolutely
be
agree with
good.
you with Legends Luke is a great one because I too would like to be trained by a Gary Stu.
I think that there are people who, they'll be more accepting and adaptive to, different learning styles and the different needs of their apprentices, as opposed to someone, as much as I love him as a character, as opposed to someone like Obi-Wan, who maybe isn't really equipped to adapt to someone whose needs are very different from his own. Yeah, those are my picks. I do want Legends Luke. I don't want a Luke that's gonna randomly try and kill me in my sleep.
It wasn't random, but well,
That's one thing that I don't want.
I wouldn't want Luke either. I wouldn't want canon Luke either, but that's because, again, with the hindsight of like he's just a bit buying too much into his own hype of
Yeah.
being Skywalker, and we saw how much that messed up not only Ben, but I would argue the rest of his order as well,
Oh
actually.
yeah, for sure. 100%.
But yeah, but those are our lists. And final question from me. What's your favorite Star Wars space battle? And then like what are your favorite Star Wars space battles?
Favorite Star Wars space battles.
Yeah.
Can I say all of them?
No, you cannot say all of them.
Okay, let me try and think of some. I think, God, that's such a good, oh man. Favorite Star Wars space battles. I love space battles. I love the ships in Star Wars. I love the vehicles. I'm ship and vehicle guy. That's kind of my thing. I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. I obviously I think the battle of the second Death Star or the battle of Endor, just the spectacle and the intensity of that one on the big screen is pretty remarkable. I think the Battle of Coruscant as well, you know, the opener there with the tranquility and the quiet of just seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin starfighters hanging in the sky, and then you pan down and it's just absolute chaos. That is amazing as well. I will also say from the Clone Wars has some pretty amazing ones. I think the episode Cat and Mouse in season 2 of the Clone Wars, where Anakin is at the helm of this experimental cloaked Corvette ship, and he's going up against Admiral Trench's blockade of Christophsis, and it's this whole kind of yeah, it's a cat and mouse game. It's very influenced by submarine warfare and a lot of the tropes and beats from various submarine warfare movies like Hunt for Red October, which is one of my favorite movies. I think that is absolutely phenomenal. I can't remember which episode of the Clone Wars this is. The one where Anakin puts ATTEs on asteroids
I believe
to
that is
flank Grievous's ships. That is just so fun.
I believe that is Downfall of a Droid, but I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think it's Downfall of a Droid. There's so many good ones in the Clone Wars, especially. I could go on, but those are my favorites off the top of my head. Second Death Star, Coruscant, Cat and Mouse, and Downfall of a Droid.
I'd say Coruscant is one of mine. I would go Coruscant, Exegol,
Oh, Exegol.
Naboo. I know that's technically in Exegol is technically in a planet's atmosphere, but I don't care. Naboo is definitely one in Phantom Menace. I was gonna go with there was another one I was thinking of. Oh, I would go with if we're including Legends, which I'm going to in this case. I would go with the battle between the Jedi and the Sith armies over Terrace in
Mm,
the beginning of KOTOR 1 is a thrilling one. Let's see. It's another one I'd say. I'd say even though it's not the main part of the plot, the battle above that moon of that unknown moon in part 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi is pretty great. Before Obi-Wan realizes he has to sacrifice himself, but with the Vader thing with the Grand Inquisitor and all that kind of stuff. I think that space battle is great in part 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
mm.
I think we do need more space battles. It's weird that I'm the one saying that, but
I
canon.
love space battles. Can't get enough of them.
But I think we do need some more good ones, some more big on fleet action. But yeah, I think that's my pick for this one. I think that is going to be it for this episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy, unless you have anything else. Next week. Next week, let's see. So next week is going to be this is going out on the 11th. Next week, I think we're going to take a break. I think we're going to actually no wait. No, next week, yeah. I think we might take a break. Maybe next week. There's a possibility that next week we will be starting off season 15 of Star Wars in the Galaxy, which will be the first 40 minutes of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But it also might be a break week. I don't know at this point, but we will update you on the In a Galaxy Twitter at In a Galaxy Pod on all platforms. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, we'll be there. We'll update you about all the stuff about when and where we're not where when and where we're going to resume. We're going to have some semblance of a break in August and early September, but I don't know exactly how much. But I can say, and we're in the process of figuring this one out, but the second episode of season 15 of Star Wars in the Galaxy, which is going to be episode 111, I believe. Yes. Episode 111, we will be joined by not one, but two guests. We will be joined by Connor Chikiti of the Nerd Academy podcast and of Epic Conversation, my co-host and on that, my co-writer and stuff like that. And we're going to be joined by one of our biggest inspirations in Star Wars content creation. There we go. I used the C word again. Mr. Alex Damon of Star Wars Explained. And we're going to be talking with them about some Jedi Fallen Order because they're two of the biggest Jedi Fallen Order fans I know in the fan base. And I'm excited to have both of them on. But I think, unless there's anything else, keep listening to Epic Confrontations. I think our next match will be out probably in a week or two. Tommy Two Horns versus Hearts of Kyber. Two new teams are going head to head. But yeah, I think until next time, may the Force be with you.
Always.